Hi guys, hope all is well. I'm just going to do a video about what I'm looking for. Kind of, I know it's NFP, but kind of like have a talk about last week and kind of see what else happened. So I actually haven't really looked that much at the markets. I've had a couple of orders, and I've kind of just not really looked because sometimes I think when you get a little bit too invested, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder. So I have actually kind of just taken a step back and kind of let things kind of move. So all of my analysis is actually still on here. So we'll kind of go through and see what's happened. So the dollar, I said I wanted to see price come back up into here. We came and broke the structure. So now I'm going to wait. I wanted to see if price was going to come back into the area that kind of caused this down move. And if we do look at the fib, where's my thing gone? No, it's down here. Simple fib. You can see we've come into our fib quite nicely. So looking to see if we can come back down to this target, down around these areas where this final fib is. And if we actually do kind of take it to this last final one, you can see this is where this kind of imbalance starts to close off. So that is still looking quite nice to see for potential shorts. If we do get that move, I am also eyeing up this move in here because this was, I believe, yesterday's news or news before that. So we do have this zone as well. I do definitely want to see what type of reaction we are going to get around this level if we are going to actually start pushing a bit high, because in all reality, we did actually have like a massive sweep of liquidity in this zone. So we could actually react from this and continue higher because we are high time frame bullish anyway. So if price did come down to then continue, I would not be surprised. But hopefully within this zone, we will actually start to see some lower time frame accumulations, wait for that break to structure and the continuation. Or if we don't and order flow is just bearish, then I will wait to see if we do actually get a break below this zone. I would like to see if we can still get some potential moves anyway. So two zones for potential buyers, either from here, waiting for that lower time frame accumulation, or from this zone. And if we do break that zone, I would want to see a full break of structure to then get a pullback to then go short, but we will cross that bridge if and when we get there. So that is the DXY. That's what I'm looking at. US30. US30, I said, hang on, let me just hide this. Cool. So US30 on the daily chart, I actually had from a couple videos ago. We still had this supply zone, high time frame supply zone is still valid for shorts because this is premium supply. Because you can see we have our lower low, lower high, lower low. So now if we're looking for that lower high and then for the continuation shorts, this fib is still lined up really, really nicely with the zone that I was looking at. Shorts from this zone was really nice to see. You can see we just swept the high out of here. Why did price not react from this zone? Well, I believe because high time frame, yes, this is in premium. Now we have broken structure, but I always think when there's zones potentially higher which aren't realistically that far away from each other, I mean, what, how many pips is that? Yeah, so like a 20 pip move. So whenever I kind of see things like that, it does make me think a little bit more. And these were kind of just potential points, because like the banks know people trade like this, and this would have been like a massive zone for people taking shorts from. It's not an invalid zone, to be fair. I mean, like you broken structure and things like that, but when there is sometimes just high zones, I am a little bit cautious on waiting for zones like this to get tested and have some sort of short move, just knowing that nothing in here was yet filled or tested. So now we have had that. We've actually had quite an interesting week so far. Going from the back of last week, we did not come into a couple zones that I was looking for, just a little bit higher. That does not mean we probably could have one more run, because if we are looking at structure, this was just one big impulsive leg. So this could actually be that drive, or we could have this pullback to then maybe go long. Who knows? What I do want to see is I would like to see just that continuation short, because we do have some lows that I would like to see get taken out, and we do still have that weekly demand, which is sitting within premium within this range. So I do want to see if we could get one more rundown, whether price is going to potentially consolidate a bit, maybe pop up one more time, even close maybe this daily imbalance to then come short. That could be a possibility. But for the time being, I do want to just sit and wait a little bit. But definitely, so far what I have been looking at is I had an order down here. I actually had two orders. I had half, I had a quarter of a position here and then a quarter here, so I was risking 0.5%. And then you can see both of these just got invalidated, which is fine because I'm actually in other trades. We actually confirmed this breaker structure now, and now we are kind of just looking for the zone that caused that breaker structure. Now you can see we do have a really nice wyckoff. What is a wyckoff? I keep telling everyone a wyckoff is nothing more than a manipulation of the highs and then a breaker structure to the downside. So that's exactly what we have had, including this breaker structure. So this is our overall high time frame distribution, and this distribution is really nice because it's actually testing off high time frame supply, which is, like we said before, this premium supply. So whenever I see things like this happen in zones like this is a kind of like a green light for me and what I like to wait for. So now we have had all of this play out. What could we see? We could see a couple of things. First of all, I'll tell you why I was actually looking for buys. I was looking for the first one. Yeah, so the first zone, I was looking here. Actually, thinking about it now, I probably could have just taken these out because what had actually happened, I did want to just wait for, but I just held it because anything can happen, you know. So I was actually looking for these zones because price had actually broken structures here, which was our confirmation. We're looking for a pullback to go long. This was our 50% range, and we created this gap here, and price is rolling down, which is why I was expecting price to then do something like this, or to potentially come deeper, take out this gap, take out all of this liquidity, and then push lower, because I did know there were news this week. And you can see we did kind of do that in some senses. We didn't, but we didn't. The price failed to come back down. We came all the way up again. We created a lot of liquidity. We had a big run. We swept New York low at 2 o'clock. So just before New York open, we came so close. We just missed the first one. Price come up. We ran. We took this high, testing more high time frame supply to then actually push a lot lower and break structures. So from this now, you can see price is actually starting to break above these zones a little bit more. So what I do want to see is on a 5-minute kind of scaled it down, and you can already see that really clean. We have, whenever you have a distribution or accumulation or any some form of wyckoff, you'll always have a schematic within a schematic. So the high time frame one is the high time frame is all of this. This is our high time frame, because you have our buying climax, blah blah blah. But the thing is, you don't really need to know what all of these things are in order to know wyckoff, because like this is your preliminary supply, you got your buying climax, you got your secondary test, you got your UTAD, and then you're coming up looking for that test and then that continuation. But this is all of them will look different. But the thing is, you just need to understand that what is getting manipulated. You can see buyers are getting manipulated. And again, buyers get manipulated. They let you sell a little bit, they get you more in, they get you in for more sales, they run you all out, and then they continue lower. So it's nothing, all of this is just nothing more than wyckoff. It's actually quite simple. So it's actually nothing more than just manipulations and breaks of structures. That's actually what it is. It's just more of a clear way of seeing it. So now we've actually had this. We can break it down into a 1 minute. There was actually a 5 minute, but we can see on a 1 minute, oh, it's so clean, so really clean. So you can see manipulation 1, 2. We have that third manipulation. What is a distribution or accumulation? A distribution is nothing more than a manipulation of the highs and a breaker structure to the downside. And then you look for the area that caused that move. Where was that area that caused that move? Boom, that's your 1 minute. So you could have had this trade on a 1 minute. Stops above the high, 15 pips, taking this all the way down to that low entry, which is that low. That's a 1 to 5, just on a 1 minute. Super clean and simple. But we can even follow. I didn't catch this trade. I'm just looking at this now with you, but this isn't a this is a potential trade that could have been taken. Again, I probably would have after that looked for some sort of area. Oops. Some sort of areas within here. We didn't get it. That's fine. That is what it is. We did have this gap, which price just came in and filled, and then we start breaking structure slow again. But now we can just look for the area that still caused this break of structure because we haven't really had a full pullback. So this is where I'm looking for this 5 minute. On a 15, you can see it a little bit more. Everything so far within this zone has been filled and tested. You can see all the imbalances have been filled. This is the only part within this breaker structure which actually hasn't been filled yet, even on a 30 minute. What we can do, we can take this. So this is the potential zone I'm looking for on US30 on a 5 minute. We pull back our fib. Our fib is just a little bit past that zone, but we will see. What I do want to wait for is exactly the same thing that I was just waiting for here. Just waiting for that lower time frame manipulations, the breaker structures, and then the tests. And you can already see the liquidity that's being built ready for us to just take out. All of these like slow lows, all of this is just ready to be taken. What was this? Yesterday, 2 o'clock. Same as when here we had that taken, 2 o'clock we had that run. So now potentially 2 o'clock, I want to see that run. And it is NFP today. I'm not trading today. I'm just going to wait for next week. But it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens. Even if we broke out this zone and we kind of came back up and still went down, that is still valid because price can retrace pretty much all the way to the top until we actually start pulling back. So we do have quite a bit of a range, and this is why I do want to wait for price to kind of play out and wait for next week. But so far we are breaking structures. We are kind of playing out the schematics, which I'm waiting and kind of playing out nicely. So we're just going to wait and see if we kind of do start to play out a bit more, or if we are going to break higher. But whatever happens is fine, because as long as we just wait and chill, we should be able to get on something. So that's US30. Gold, go out, we can see what happens. I was actually waiting for price to come in on gold on a 30 minute up here. We literally just missed it, and then price started to break lower. I was looking for a potential buy of this zone to see if we could run this high and actually dig a bit deeper into here, but we didn't get that. And again, that's fine. You can see we create this low, price come up, we traded back into supply, which caused lower time frame breaks of structure, and then we actually had a flip, and this was another zone that I was looking for, and we had another break of structure here. So it's still valid that we were looking for the zone. You can see it did, so price actually kind of came in and swept this whole zone, but you can see price did just trade in to kind of this first original zone, which was created, and you can see we came up and tested the 50% of it. Pretty nice. So you can see this was the whole supply, which was actually the mitigations from. And even though this one got invalidated, it's all because of we had this was our main supply, which actually first came up and mitigated. Because even though we didn't mitigate the 30 minute, we did still mitigate out of the 10 minute, out of the hourly, sorry. So that's still valid. It's still a mitigation. Sometimes it hits, just sometimes it doesn't, is what it is. So you can see after this zone, this is really nice to see. And I had an order in here, and I did want to see if we could test it. We did. We literally just wicked it, and then we came all the way back to the downside. So that's fine. That is what that is. And we can actually see we had an 8 a.m. low, which you can see actually got ran as well. So let's kind of have a look and see. So these are now out of the way. Hourly. I do still want to wait and see if price could come a little bit lower into, I believe, into this 50% more, we do still have an imbalance within this zone. And I do want to see if we could actually just get these lows around. Just because I feel like there is a lot of liquidity resting below these, and I think price, this doesn't really feel like that much of a bottom unless price came up and we ran it to then go higher. But I don't really kind of like seeing lows that are taken, not taken yet, because you can see even in this scenario here, price came super close to taking it out. We didn't. It looked like we were going to go bullish, it even pumped higher, and then it kind of fell through. So you can see same sort of thing happening. Price is kind of coming up here. We're almost taking this high out or this low, and looking to see test up into here, kind of test into here, and then it just rolled over. So potentially looking to see if we can just get that rollover at least down into this low here. Whether we're going to go lower, I do want to wait and see, but we are high time frame bearish. Like we are bearish, so shorts is still valid until kind of proven, until proven otherwise. So I am going to wait and see what happens in and around this wick zone, because I feel like there's definitely going to be something in this wick and we can check it out. So already on the 30-minute, I would probably just be taking this whole zone. I'm including the imbalance and this wick because I know price could just come into this imbalance and might not go any higher because there might not be anything. Okay, so there definitely is something up in here. Okay, so 5-minute, you can even see we have a lower time frame distribution play out. 3-minute, 2-minute. I do like to do this, just scalp down really quick, and kind of just see like what is the last possible point that price could actually test before invalidating it. So this is actually the last kind of point, and if I'm not mistaken, that is 50% of this whole move, which again is really, really nice to see. So I would actually kind of like to see about potentially taking some sort of trade off any of these zones. I'd be looking at this because we've actually traded back into a higher time frame supply. We've came up, we've raided, and we've actually broken structures. So you can see this was our lower time frame structure. We broke above, we broke back down, we broke all of this. So now I'm just waiting for all of this to be ran. And considering price didn't actually really test in here, and there's still things that I do want to see get tested, this is kind of giving me a bit more of a bias that I do want to see this get taken out. We do also have some equal lows in here, and you can see on a 5-minute we do have this zone and we do have some imbalance in here, so that is all still valid. So this is definitely a zone that I'm going to be waiting to see if I can get any pullbacks and shorts from. 15, let's go. There was nothing really other than, yeah, nothing really, to be honest with you, other than this zone, which we've already spoke about. Even potentials off of this zone. But if I'm going to be honest, I would feel more comfortable taking something off of this zone. Just because, I mean, sometimes things just line up so nicely. So you can see our fib is lined up really, really nicely when that target is lined up nicely with that lower time frame level. So what I do potentially think could happen is price could come up to here, generate more liquidity, ran, and then have that continuation lower. So that might be a potential nice opportunity. Shorts here, 78 pips to 300. So about a 1 to 4, which is not bad. So you could put a call position and another call position. so 0.5% risk, and that's a now 1 to 8. So you basically doubled your risk to reward just by potentially having to have gone down into a lower time frame just to kind of scalp an entry. So even though sometimes it is a little bit longer to do, just doing those little bits can actually help you and be quite beneficial. So for gold, I'm going to be waiting for potential tests of this area again to then go short. If not, I do want to see what NFP does. In true reality, we could pretty much just die off from here, and again, that's fine. But if we do actually start breaking these structures, then I'm still going to be looking at these zones, because this was still a zone which caused actually this whole move, and then this means we would have had a break and flip of these two zones here. So this would definitely be like a really nice confirmation zone, or like a confirmed sell zone, because this was the supply which actually invalidated both this structure here, and the demand within it. So that's what I'm looking for on gold. If we go, if we go AU, so AU, we're coming close, or we tried to come close to the target, but we are still holding on. I have actually moved my take profit here, but just for the time being, I'm just going to leave it here. So AU is doing really quite nice. We got the first entry up here of this distribution, and we've kind of just been sitting and playing off it again. You can see what I said to you about US30 when we come into high time frame supply zones, and then we start getting that distribution lower again. US30 high time frame supply and distributions lower. So what's actually happened this week? As you can see, I feel like everyone was taking shorts off here, which was cool because this is all valid. I was looking for shorts off here as well, because again, it's valid. We're breaking structures, we're testing of supply. Again, you can see manipulations, and then we kind of started to break structures and invalidate these lower time frame demand zones. But obviously news come out, and we just manipulated everything, and then we continued lower. But we did still actually just come in and test this zone again. So it is still valid, because even though these got manipulated, it was still testing supply. And that's something which at first I didn't really get, and then I kind of understood it a bit more. But even when you have these zones, just because it gets manipulated like this doesn't mean that it's an invalidation of it, because it's usually just testing something higher time frame, and higher time frame will always trump lower time frames. So that's something to really kind of keep in mind. And obviously structure, we can see, is definitely shifting bearish. Even on the 4-hour, we are still in this bearish move. Yes, we do have intermediate structures, but high time frame, this is our leg that we're looking for. But you can see once we started having this shift of momentum, as soon as we kind of started to break past here and come down, and we started getting basically, well, we didn't actually break structures in all reality, but what we have done, which is even nicer to see, is we've created equal lows for price to actually just continue back down lower, which again, that's nice to see. So let's check out what we have in here. Okay, so we have two zones that I'm seeing already. We have this 15-minute zone, which again is basically the same as all of the other zones, XAUUSD. Okay, so obviously we're all going to be checking out this 5-minute zone. And again, like on gold, which is very similar, we have that 1-minute zone, which was actually up here. If you can see this 1-minute zone, and then we dropped lower. If we go on AU, we do have that 5-minute zone, and then we drop lower. I'm sure if we went down into a 1-minute. Okay, so you can see very similar. So even all the way back up into here, price may not even go back up to there. If I'm going to be honest with you, if I'm going to be doing something like that, I would just be taking it off the 5. I never really look through the 6-minute. Okay, that 6-minute looks really clean. 7. We could probably just adjust that down. 8. 8's nice. 9. Yeah. Okay. Cool. These are looking really clean, and then obviously we go 10-minute. Okay. So I would probably say the cleanest for me is just be taking it from either these two zones. Sometimes even when you do have, sorry, when I went into gold and I went into the 1-minute zone and I went all the way up into here, you can see I do have actually two zones, because price could actually just come into this imbalance, or it could probably run a bit deeper into the 50 and actually enter this on this 1 minute. But the same on AU, we could just do that as well. But the 15-minute zone on AU, well, actually, okay, fair enough. The 15-minute zone is here, so we actually could just react of this whole zone, which is quite a big zone to be trading from. I mean, how many pips is this? Okay, so that's not too bad. So you could even potentially, these aren't signals. These are not signals, by the way. I'm just saying these are trade ideas. Potentially off here to run out these equal lows, but I would probably just take it down here. We have that 5-minute zone, which is, to be honest with you, not that much different higher. Yeah, not really that much different, if I'm going to be honest with you, but still. So again, you can see that's now 1 to 7. This was 1 to 5, now it's 1 to 7. So potential shorts from that zone, we have already tested high time frame, we've manipulated, we've broken structures. So these are looking quite good for potential shorts, in my opinion. Again, we can go into here. This can be another zone. But if I'm going to be honest, I do have a feeling with NFP that we are going to potentially come back up. Or if not, we could test, come back down, generate liquidity to then run it to then come back down. That could be a possibility. So that's AU. I do want to see if price can definitely go lower, as I do want to see on gold. They do kind of correlate, because AU has some sort of correlation with gold. If I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't know, but I do know there is a correlation with Australian gold. So final targets for me is probably going to be this 3-day demand down in here, because we do still have imbalance and things. I do want to see also if price could run this low one more time, or if not, in all reality, price could just come higher, break structures and continue. But we will have to wait and see. I will only look for that if price does ever make it back up here and we break. But so far, I do want to see a few of these lower zones get tested. So yeah, let's kind of see what happens with that. So a few zones on AU that we could be waiting for, and we really want to just be waiting for confirmations. Are you getting the manipulations high, the breaker structures lower, the pullbacks, and then the continuations? That is what you want to be waiting for. Same as when you're in here, you want to be waiting for the manipulations of the highs, the breaker structures to the downsides, the tests, and then the manipulations lower. This is basically what we have here. This is basically what we have here. This is everything, even though this is on a 1 hour time frame, this whole move could just be on like a 5 minute, or it could be on a 1 minute. So that's all you need to be waiting for. And if we do actually start breaking above, then we can assess and be like, okay, cool. What is the zones which actually caused this move? But so far we are bearish, and I do want to see if price can react off this news. Euro pound, again, I haven't really looked at this too much. I haven't looked at this too much. I do still think we can go short. We do have major lows down in here which haven't been taken out yet. We got nice big imbalances, which I do want to see as well. Again, you can see lows. But definitely still looking for shorts, I believe, off this 15-minute. Yeah, off this 15-minute move, or the half an hour, I believe. Yeah, so anywhere off the zone, you can see this fib is lining up really, really nice with this imbalance. We have actually been breaking lower and things, but I do think we could maybe just have one more run and then have that down move. So I am just gonna sit and wait. I knew there was some news the other day with the pound. You can see we just generate so much liquidity and then we just pumped. So that was a big nice move to see. If we did start to kind of push down a little bit lower today, I would have wanted to see if price was going to come into here. And whenever you do have like a big move that kind of springs out like this, I mean, like, I don't want to say more times than not because it doesn't, but I've noticed more times that if you've got a really clean demand zone down here, price can actually just come into like 50% and then come up, because I feel like there's a lot of people expecting it to come down here, and I have seen it just come into the 50%. So whenever I see like news impulses like this, I do kind of look at the 50% zones more for reactions from. Same with US30. This is why I was a confirm this zone in here, because this is the 50% range from this low to this high. But so far you can see we have just been pretty much just pushing higher. So this is probably going to give me a bit more indication that price is definitely just going to potentially come back in to the AAE mark. That's going to be a quite nice zone to look for shorts from. Or if we're actually looking at psych levels, we do have AA 500. Major half point. So yeah, this could be a potential nice zone that we could see some shorts from. So that is all I have for now. I am going to wait for NFP and see what happens. And yeah, if you guys got any questions, please let me know. Feel free to fire away and I'll help you as much as I can. All right, guys.